Yu Yu Hakusho, and on the big screen tonight, of course, in Buckout Road. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for PIFF's 2018 Career Inspiration Award, David Hayter!
Hello. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You can set it down here if you want.
Thank you. I was like, I hope there's an actual award. Because I've done these things before and there wasn't any award and I was upset. Thank you. I have a couple of things to say, but it will be very brief because you've sat through 3 movies and very kind of you. My sincerest thanks to the Pasadena Film Festival, to Jessica Harden and Marco Neves, without whom I would not be here. I want to thank Matthew Curry Holmes, the director of Buckout Road, for sharing his big night with me. And Henry Czerny, I'm going to say the greatest character actor on the planet, and he's here and far more impressive than myself, and the rest of the cast and crew. I want to thank my friends Marty Fortney, with whom I am writing a TV show, and Dan Rosen, with whom I'm writing a different TV show, and Brandon Boyce, who refuses to work with me, but I'm still pitching his new movie, Bad Samaritan. It opens on May the 4th. And then it says, most importantly, I want to thank my partner of more than 2 decades, the woman and, finest mother, most beautiful woman. It's my wife, but she didn't show up. Look, when Marco first mentioned this to me, I wanted to complain about receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award at the age of 49. But I don't like to complain. As you can see, I am barely in this film, which I think at my age is also a bit of an achievement. On January 6, 1990, I moved to Hollywood. I was 20 years old. I didn't know anyone. I lived alone in a cozy little studio apartment overlooking the 134 Pass Avenue off-ramp. I slept on a futon on the floor, and one morning I woke up, scratched my head, a big spider fell out onto the floor. Anyway, my first job was working at a nightclub run by mid-Asian gangsters called Sash on Ventura Boulevard, cleaning out toilets and cutting up limes. In that order, I was not good at that job. Since then, I have been lucky enough to work with Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry and Dwayne Johnson, Ang Lee, Leslie Nielsen, Faye Dunaway, Henry Czerny, and John Carpenter. I've written dialogue for Ian McKellen to exchange with Patrick Stewart, which was something. Charlize Theron nearly crushed me with her car outside the Formosa bar on the night of my 28th birthday, so it's been a good run. Still, I'd like to think that there are adventures ahead and shows to create and exotic locations to shoot, more awards to collect. But I think if you'd have asked that kid cutting limes with his cocky grin and the webs in his hair, if you'd asked him, "Why are you here, kid? What do you hope to accomplish with all this?" I believe he'd have said with vast unearned confidence, "I'd like to have fun, make some people happy, maybe inspire them a little bit. I'd like to seduce them into pursuing their better natures." And honestly, I think I've done all those things to one extent or another, maybe not on every level I've aimed for, but we'll see what happens next. The only thing I really know is this: it's been unbelievably fun. Thank you.
I would love to call all the filmmakers now from the movies to come down here for the Q&A. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for them. Chadwick, Papua, and Buckout Road. Welcome. So tall. Everyone's so tall. Let's use this one for that side.
Where's Henry at? Mr. Cherney.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, come on in. Come on down.
No.
Oh, yeah, you're coming.
Much nicer up here.
Oh, you sure?
Yes, I get to see you.
But we're going to make fun of you, so you should probably be here.
I'm ready to laugh.
Okay. Henry Cherney, ladies and gentlemen. Probably the greatest character actor of all time?
I'm going to say of all time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Let's have everybody introduce themselves and say what they did in the movie and for which movie, of course. So let's start.
Here.
Hey, my name's Austin Arnold with Papua. I wrote it and acted in it.
And I'm John Diaz, and I was director of Papua.
I'm George Clarkin. I wrote and directed Dead Week. And two of my actors are Bruno and Jason.
Hey, Aaron Arnold produced and acted in Papua.
Hi everybody, my name is Bianca and I played Papua's nurse.
I am Brian Shopke, and I am Papua.
I'm Matthew Curry Holmes. I'm the writer-director of Buckout Road.
And I'm Solid Snake. No, I'm David Hayter. Yes, thank you. That's one. I'm David Hayter. I played Detective Maitland in Buckout Road.
All right, so my first question is basically, what was the spark of inspiration to make this film? What started everything?
Who are you talking to?
Anybody, whoever wants to go first.
Should we Rochambeau for the... Okay, well, since I'll start. Well, the inspiration was a paycheck. I was graciously hired by my producers to punch up a script that they already had, and I read the script, and I had another idea, and I pitched it to them, and they said, "We're shooting in like 5 months." I'm like, "Yeah, just give me a little bit of time, and I'll write a page one." And I started writing it, and they loved it, and said, "Do you want to direct it?" So. Just like that, folks. That's how easy it is. Just like that. It's so easy. Someone pays you a lot of money to rewrite a script, and then they ask for you to direct. Just took nothing at all.
Wonderful. Anybody else?
I didn't make it.
Yeah, I was actually doing my PhD thesis at Berkeley, and I started to touch on found footage films, and I wanted to finally do a found footage film where it actually made sense for people to film themselves. Because if they didn't film themselves, they would die. That was really the gist.
All right, I'll start things.
I'll take it from here. Okay. Papua actually started as a chapstick commercial. And I'll let the writer explain that.
There's a lot of drafts. I mean, all of us are primarily actors, and when we're not acting in other people's stuff, we like to write our own. And we all have a pretty dark sense of humor. And one thing led to another.
I've got nothing to say about making movies. I didn't make a single movie. Second question. Does anybody have any fun stories during shooting or whatever happened that was interesting to tell here tonight?
Less of a story, more of a quick anecdote. Brian's character, Papua, he was thirsty the whole time and he refused to drink the whole day of shooting, so 12 hours. We encouraged him to drink.
Something funny to add on that. So by the end, it was very hot in the room, and I passed out. And it was during and during Aaron's close-up, and I started snoring right in the middle of it.
Best way to pass out, dude.
Also, afterwards, the guy who ran the studio space accused us of stealing his Mr. Coffee Maker. That's
One brief thing in the movie, I smack one of the twins in the head quite a few times. If you've ever worked on a movie, you see it 3 times, but I had to do it 20 or 30 times. And what I was doing was just sort of wiping my fingers across, making sure the hair flipped up and it would look good. And then one time I just clocked him on the back of the head. And that's the one in the movie, and that's the one where he goes, "Dude!"
Completely unscripted line. It's good improv. I have no funny stories. It was hell shooting that movie. We had no money and no time. No, I have one. Actually, since you're here, I'm going to tell the funny story about
What happened to me?
David Hayter. So we were shooting.
Barely in this.
It's only because I cut him out. He had a huge part.
It's not true.
No, it's not true.
Moments on screen.
We had this one the one scene at the very end. I don't know if you noticed, but the black went to blue because we were literally chasing the sun. And up until this point, you know, David took it. We're really good friends. So we've worked together before. We've written screenplays before together. So I asked him as a favor to be in my movie because I thought it would be a lot of fun to have him. And he graciously came in, flew himself up, did my movie, didn't complain for the long hours that we had to shoot. And he took it really, really seriously. And he would come up to me, you know, after every take, and he's like, was that okay? Did you get what you needed? Because I can try this other thing. I'm like, no, David, it was really good. Are you sure I can do this? No, yeah, we got it. And so every time, you know, he would just come up and just make sure that, you know, kind of make sure I got everything that he, you know, I needed. And on the last day, it was really frantic. We were chasing the sun, and David comes up and he starts, you know, talking about his character. And I'm like, dude, we do not have time to talk about the sun's coming in. So he came up and he did the first take and he ran out and he did this thing. He comes up and do the thing. Ready? And action. Stop! Put it down! Put it down! Shit! Do it again! Okay, David, look, if you want to be on camera, you have to say the line there. So David would do it like 3 or 4 times and he would just kind of run out because his instinct would be to go to the character. And unfortunately, we had a lock-off shot, the sun was coming up, and I'm like, Jesus, just...
I was like, there's a girl and she's bleeding to death, and I know her, and I'm like, shouldn't I go over here? And he's like, nah, not if you want to be in it.
Not if you want to be in my movie. If you want to be in my movie, you say the line right there. And he did, and it looked really great. So that was my big funny story to use David.
Very nice. All right, last question before I open it up to the audience. What do you have next lined up or not? What ideas do you have coming up? What is the future? What does the future look like for you right now?
Well, like Austin said, we're all actually actors, so we've got a lot of stuff we're working on. But besides that, we're working on a feature right now. We are putting that together right now. Another dark comedy, so I hope all of you will be there, laughing uncomfortably. That's our goal and objective. So yeah, so we got cooking. Anything else to say?
I made films for a lot of years, but then I just decided to teach and do the PhD thesis at Berkeley. Now that thesis is soon to become a book with Rutledge, so it's my life at the moment.
Go Bears!
Go Bears! Bears.
Go Bears. I'm actually with the same team that we did Buckout Road. We are shooting my 3rd feature up in Canada called SelfStorage. About a ragtag group of people who get trapped in a self-storage facility only to be trapped with the world's oldest vampire. So they have to get out. Whoa. It's a lot of fun. Where this was kind of stoic and a lot of talking, self-storage is going to be like a lot of killing and moving. So. And moving. Lots of movement.
Some moaning.
Some moaning. When you get bit and die and bleed, you know. So yeah, we shoot that in the fall.
Oh, yeah, nice.
We'll be spending the next year raising money for this festival again. All right, audience,